Yes, Dutchy. Yes, Coach Cole. It's been a wonderful weekend of football here at Adelaide Oval. We just finished up with the last game of the round between Port Power and the Hawks. It was an incredible victory by the Power. Controlled it from start to finish. They came out hot. They're on fire. They needed to win. They were under pressure. And gee whiz, my tip of the Hawks, that went up in smoke very, very quickly. Very impressive. We also attended the other Adelaide Oval game, which was on Saturday night between my boys, the Bombers, and the Melbourne Demons. It was up for grabs. We were the favourites, and I think we performed the way we were supposed to perform. But of course, all the talk will be about how shit Melbourne is. They are, indeed, correct. But I think we deserve some props. We played really well with some important players out with injury, and we managed to control the game for the most part, which was very impressive. Saturday afternoon, we had the West Coast Eagles. All of our hopes and dreams were with the Eagles if they could somehow beat the Blues. Alas, it did. It was a scrappy affair. Neither team looks really good. And it wasn't until the last quarter where the Blues decided to put the foot down and finally put the Eagles to the sword, who really look like an absolute rabble this year, which is really unfortunate. And on the Friday night, the first night we were here at Adelaide Oval, it was the Pies against the Swans. Cracking contest. Two top 8 potential sides. The last year's grand finalists in the Swans, they tried their best. They tried to control the football, but against the pressure that came from the Pies, they were just too good, too quick. And gee, they're looking good, the Pies. Your boys, Dutchy, they're looking really good. I know you're up and about. Back to you guys.
Competition will never be the same when episodes drop every single Tuesday. They're on a mission to bring footy news, plenty of laughs and guest interviews. All the others are slow, but they're coming fast. When it's all said and done, they'll be number one. The rest are coming in last. Podcast is here for you. Number one Footy Podcast.
Welcome to the number one Footy Podcast. I'm Brodie, Holland, and I'm going to be your host tonight because Joey's not here, unfortunately, and I don't mind. I hope you don't mind me giving you the bird there, Coach, but apparently it's trending at the moment.
Well, it is. There's a reason for this. If you weren't aware already, Bailey Smith is now being fined by the AFL.
He is.
For not just the one bird, Dutch.
No.
The double bird at a footy fan that was having a go at his skipper.
It is, and he was sticking up for his captain, and that was his whole premise. He was saying, I'm sticking up for my captain. I wouldn't take it back. I do not apologise under any circumstances. Happy to cop the fine, but if it happened again, I'm happy to do it again. What do you think about that, Coach?
I love the fact that he's sticking up for his teammates, and there needs to be. If you're a fan, Dutch, did you ever have a fan have a crack at you before?
Oh, plenty
of times.
Plenty, yeah.
But there's got to be there's a boundary there.
Yes.
You know, I mean, this is after the game. They're coming down the race. They've had a win, and this is an Adelaide supporter that Danger used to play for that team.
He did. Look,
where's the respect, Dutch?
I feel like it's a silly thing to do, but I kind of back him in. I don't mind.
Exactly.
I don't mind it. Like it's like he's sticking up for his captain. Like he's copping a barrage from the sidelines. Nathan Brown was talking about this on the Sunday. I think it was a Sunday Footy show the other day where he got fined the exact amount. I think it was around about $5,000. He got fined. He did it like 20 years ago. Kicked a goal, I think, and he gave it to the opposition supporter on the boundary line. And we're talking 20 years later, he gets the exact same fine as what Nathan Brown did 20 years ago. So is that fair, do you think? I mean, it all changes, the protocol, the fines, all that
What's going to happen to the fan? Is he getting fined?
Yeah.
He instigated it.
Well, this is exactly my point. I was talking to a friend about this just today. Are we going to do anything about the fans that are carrying on like pork chops, or are we just going to find the players that react to the supporters that are carrying on like pork chops? That's
it.
That is the question on everyone's lips. Like seriously, like we've got to get rid of these fans, don't we?
I think so, and I think Collingwood have probably got the most. Your fans are probably the most rabid fans in the AFL.
No, my fans are great. I love my fans, the Magpies fans. And speaking of Magpies fans, the Pies are up and about and Dutchy's up and about. I'm excited.
They look good,
because
Dutch.
they are
They're
looking good. If they
ticking along.
haven't already won the silverware, I don't know which team has, because Hawthorn have just done a little bit of a dip. And the Pies are coming through with flying colours. I've got a bit of a theory on the Pies at the moment.
Tell me.
Not on the Pies in general, but I'm talking about Nick Dacos more than anything. Like, they'd like to try and tag him, get under his guard. If you look at the last 3 games that they've played this year, 35% of his possessions have come in last quarters.
Right.
So should they just leave him alone for the first quarter? I've got a theory. This is what I would do if I was an opposition coach. I wouldn't play my tagger. I would play him. I'd sub him. All right, my best tagger, sub him, and at the 20-minute mark of the third quarter, I'd bring him on fresh, and I would just go to Nick Dacos and I would try and squash him. All right, so that is some serious advice for the senior AFL coaches out there. No worries, all right, you can thank me later. But I reckon that won't work because he is a quick runner, but even more so, he's an endurance athlete and he just runs the opposition players off the legs. Wait till he's worn out. Wait till he's semi-worn out, then bring your best tagger on and squash him in the quarter where he does most damage.
That's not a bad strategy, Dutch. And one thing I noticed from that game, the Pies v Swans, it's something you mentioned a few episodes ago. It was the Pies' defensive pressure in the forward half.
It is, yes.
Bottling the ball in. Now, what I noticed was that the inside 50 entries between both teams were almost identical.
They were.
Now, something was making those Pies convert their shots, and I reckon it's the perceived pressure that those Sydney defenders are feeling. It's not always the pressure per se, but you know what it's like when it gets in your head, Dutch? It's the perceived pressure.
They know it's coming and they're worried about where it's coming from.
That's it.
And they've averaged, I think, 13.5 tackles inside 50 the last 3 games as well. So in 18, I think it was, against Carlton.
Wow.
You know, I know it was a wet day that day, but they've been able to, and we're talking effective tackles inside 50. That's quite high. And the McCreary's, the Bobby Hills of the world, and obviously Lockie Shields didn't play last week, but he's been instrumental in that regard, hasn't he?
Definitely. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Anything else to add on the Pies there, Dutch?
Well, the Pies are going pretty well, and I am very excited about them at the moment. Darcy Cameron is playing some seriously good footy. Look, he fixed up De Koning week before last, and he had another fabulous job on the weekend.
Is there room for Cox?
I looked at this, though. I was looking at I was really excited about the way he's playing, and I decided to look up Sportsbet and see what his odds were for the Brownlow. And I could not, for the life of me, find him within 500 to 1. So tell me something. And when you look through the history of Brownlow medal, in the last 20 years, has there been a ruckman that's won a Brownlow? Like,
not
if you go back to Scotty Wine, and you got Jimmy Stein.
91.
Oh, shit, you're all over it.
Yes.
But all seriousness, like, it is a midfield award now, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, I'm talking ground level midfielders, not ruckman. Ruckman aren't getting a look in. This guy's taking intercept marks, contested marks. He's getting his fair share of hit-outs. At ground level, he's been instrumental. When he actually had a bounce the other week, this guy is on track for All Australian. And I'm even talking about Max. Why hasn't Max Gawn won a Brownlow?
Well, you said, Dutch. It's a midfielder's medal, not the tall ruckman, but you're right. 91 Jimmy Steins, 92 Scotty Wine. I think Luke Darcy was probably the last ruckman that was up there with a chance going into a Brownlow as a favourite. And this was, I'm thinking, early to mid 2000s. What have we seen since then? Like I said, Max Gawn, great ruckman. Who else have we had?
I think umpires are looking at the game's gotten quicker. It's gotten fast. The midfielders have gotten quicker, and the way they move the ball is really exciting to watch. And I think the umpires get carried away with the speed of the game and the electricity of those midfielders.
It's the Chat GPT era, Dutch. Everything is being condensed into little tidbits. They're only seeing the midfielders that are in there, quick hands, but they're not seeing the work that's happening around them.
No,
they're not respecting the craft of the game. Everything's reduced to little seconds.
That's right.
I'm bloody fed up with it, Dutch.
Mate, look, I am too. I'd like to see some serious players in different positions winning Brown, like a full forward, a full back. Verdon Howe
not-
or a Jason Dunstall.
Wouldn't that be great?
Or a Scotty Wine, for
Yes.
instance, like in the ruck winning a round, that sort of type. Can we just move on for a second? I want to talk about the Bulldogs game because I know obviously the coach wasn't too happy with some of the holding the ball decisions. And did you see something? I think we should show a bit of this
Let's
vision
get that up,
because there's
yeah.
about 4 or 5 where they're not even handballing the ball. They're not disposing of the ball properly. They're either dropping the ball, they're throwing the ball away. Umpires are just letting it go at the moment. And, you know, the Western Bulldogs will be seething about this.
They
wouldn't
had a handy lead, Dutch. They
They
were up
did.
there. Can we? What is that capitulation? Would you blame the free kicks, or would you say because the other thing is Brisbane are just ticking along, aren't they?
Brisbane are ticking along. They're going well, but I think something needs to be done about it. Even these are really obvious ones that we just had a bit of a look at. But even still, like if someone gets caught holding the ball, someone gets caught with the ball and they've had no prior opportunity, it doesn't matter whether you've had prior opportunity or
the
not.
ball.
If you don't dispose of the ball properly,
Correctly.
if you don't handball it and it drops out, it is holding the ball. All right,
You're
and
right.
that's one thing that's gone out of the game for the last 15, 20 years is you've got to dispose of the ball properly.
You're right.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do, if there's anything they do with this, is see if the umpires fraternity, if they react to obviously Beveridge and his comments. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Anyway, let's move on. We've got the Crows and the Cats game was a big one. Any
We spoke
thoughts on the
about
Crows and the
that.
Cats game?
Well, that was a great game. Again, mentioning danger there. Played at Adelaide before. Cats, they just find a way.
They do.
Don't they? Adelaide have been looking good.
Yeah.
Cats are one of those sleeping giants this year. I reckon they're always there and about. What are your thoughts?
Look, I really like Adelaide. I thought they were ready this year. And although we only did top 4, not top 8, I would have had, obviously, Adelaide, somewhere from 5th to 8th. And I thought they were creeping up. And I still think they are. The only problem for me with Adelaide is they still seem like their opposition, high-quality teams are still finding a way to kick a score against them for 1 quarter a game. If they take the pedal off for 15 minutes, the opposition can kick 4 or 5 goals quickly. So they are very offensive and they are very good offensively, but if they're not quite switched on defensively on the day, they can be a score can be kicked against them. So for me, obviously the Cats are looking in slightly better shape. The Crows are up there and abouts, but they've got to be on.
The jury's still out on them.
They've got to be on the day. Ports and Hawks was a massive game, sensational game.
Bit of
I
scrap.
did mention this in my stories, and I haven't responded to. I put a question out last night and said, what is something you're seeing in the modern game over the last year or so that you haven't ever seen before? That was a question I threw out to my Instagram followers, and I haven't given my answer yet.
Have you got an
Do you know
answer?
what my answer is going to be?
I'll take a guess.
What is it?
Because we've discussed this before.
Oh, have we? Well, you know the answer, don't you?
not tonight, but we've discussed this in previous. I've been saying this for probably the last year. I've seen too many goals out the back of the pack. Too many goals out the back. Back in the day,
That wasn't
Dutch,
my answer, but yeah, this is another.
I'm noticing this. Back in the day, you were on your. Now they're getting cheap kicks out the back.
Yeah.
That just would not happen.
Yeah.
In our day.
My answer was, and it came to light last night watching the Hawthorn game, when I'm going, the score is 70-25 or 75-20, whatever it was at that time, halfway through the third quarter. And I thought, Hawthorn can win this game.
Still.
Like, I feel like you can be 6-7 goals down in the modern game, halfway through a game, and even if the opposition are clearly winning the battle, that there's still a chance to get over the line. The opposition can still find a way because the ebbs and flows are still there. But, just with the way the game's played and how offensive the game is in this day and age, the opposition has still a chance to get back and win the game. And Hawks got within, what was it?
4 goals, was it?
4 goals,
Yeah.
8 minutes to play against Port. And Port were all over them for the majority of the night. So that's something we're starting to see. They got a massive run on and Port just kicked one against the grain and the game was gone. One more goal to the Hawks and it would have been
Precious.
It would have been on for young and old.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something before.
Yes.
Are we finished with Hawks?
No, well, I was going to actually chat. One more thing I was going to talk about was the umpire and the short incident with the umpire.
Oh, Richmond game.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I remember Diesel Williams getting fined for that. We got Toby Green a couple of years ago. Look, that seemed to be a bit more incidental. The umpire's backing away from the play. Can't see
Yeah.
You know, Jaden's focusing on the ball and moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you fine him for that? Has he been fined? I don't know. What's the latest? Do we know?
I don't know what the result is. I don't know what the result is, but all I know is that I got done for running into an umpire when we were talking years ago now. We're zoning in on this. These guys get let off scot-free. I don't care what you say. They get $2,000, $1,500, $2,500. We're talking 2025. I think I was 2003 or 4 and ran into an umpire, tried to get out of the way. He hit me and I got $3,500 fine. Now, you know, like a little bit like the Nathan Brown one, the fines were bigger 20 years ago than they are now, and they make a big deal out of them on the media. But like seriously, compared to the amount of money that they're earning, it really is.
And
nothing.
we're not in any way condoning the abuse or the assault on umpires. We are just stating the fact that it's a contact sport. You're in close proximity to each other.
Yes,
you're bound to bump into each other. But I don't think it was anyone's fault. Just let, as I say, Dutchy, let Burgoynes be Burgoynes.
Let Burgoynes be Burgoynes. Like, before we go, we need to have a chat. This is a huge game this week. The Brisbane Lions versus the Collingwood Magpies.
Shush.
I penciled Collingwood in for 4 losses only for the year.
All right.
And I think they can still win this. This is a huge game. Obviously, it's at the Gabba. Collingwood still got a couple of players out. They got away with one because Sydney got a few out too. But Brisbane at home are always obviously hard to beat. You know, reigning premiers, grudge match. You know, grand final 2023.
2 years ago. Yep.
You know, so Collingwood are as good as they're going, and geez, they're going good. And I still expect them to win the flag.
Dutchy dreaming.
But they don't play well on the small grounds. We saw GWS in round 1 when they got hold of them, when the game's a bit tighter and in close. And the Gabba is one of the shortest grounds in the competition. And Brisbane are a contested ball winning team, a beastly contested ball winning team, and they play the ground very well. This one will go down to the wire. I've penciled, as much as I hate to say it, yes, Collingwood will win the flag this year, but I think the Lions will win this between 1 to 2 goals. What are your thoughts?
I think the Lions at home are strong. They're looking really good. They're finding a way to win. Good teams do that. They were behind against the Dogs. They came back. Hipwood was on fire in the second half. They're providing a great focus up forward. And I just think at home that they're going to get the job done. I'm going to say 17 points. 17 points.
All right, well, there you go. Well, good luck, the Pies. I'm sorry for tipping against you because, I do love
He's
you.
a pragmatist.
I
pragmatist.
still think that you'll win the flag, but we need to lose a few. We need to be challenged to make sure that we prepare well for the grand final. And here we are with my old mate, Stevie Baker, ex-St Kilda superstar and all-round champion bloke as well. Stevie... Where have you been, mate? Look, I haven't seen you for a little while, mate. I know you've been boxing training and you've got a bit going on at the moment. Fill us in on what you've been up to,
been
mate.
training hard. Team Alice gym. Got another fight May 3rd coming up, Damien Locke. So I've been doing a lot of training, but also a lot of doing talks on resilience that I call grit.
Yeah, fill us in about the grit talks, mate, because, I know you're doing some great things there in obviously the motivation and, the mental health space as well. Fill us in.
Yeah, so after losing Warney a couple of years ago, I sort of started speaking about resilience, and then I formed a presentation called Grit, which I talk about gratitude, resilience, inspiration and teamwork, which spells grit. I just started doing a few footy clubs, and then it sort of evolved and started doing corporate. Now I'm into the schools, teaching kids to be more resilient, which I think's needed these days, and it's sort of taken off. So been loving it and travelling around Australia doing a lot of that.
It looks like the kids and the people that you talk to love it because they're just happy and they just want the vibe of it looks sensational. Yeah. And you told me you got 100 talks next month.
In July I've got about 100 booked in, so we're going to have to find some more. Maybe Coach Cole. We need some coaching.
We're in the wrong game, Coach. We're in the wrong game.
We try and have a bit of fun. So it's
and as you said, it's an acronym. So can we just run that again? What was
Gratitude, resilience, inspiration, and teamwork.
And you can't have one without the other, right? They're just they're interconnected. Gratitude, I found for mental health, is something that I used to pass on to the players, boys, is so important, isn't it? Because when you're trying to get out that mindset, when you're just feeling a bit flat, or when you practice gratitude, I think things come back to you in abundance, don't they?
No, 100%. I think, gratitude and probably teamwork, being surrounded by good people, but showing appreciation for the small things in life, trying to take the good, even if a bad situation happens, like losing a loved one or something serious, try and find good in, cherish the mates that you have still, and look for the good in even bad situations.
I love that, Bakes, especially like from the era. Sorry to interrupt you, Dutch. I just wanted because it's a very important thing that Bakes is doing here. But in the era that you guys came through and when I coached, it was always about pushing on, wasn't it? It was always about you didn't deal with these things. You didn't have to be vulnerable. You just had to find a way through.
You're either weak or tough.
That's it. There was no in between.
I think sharing my story, I was known as sort of the tough guy of football, and I bottled my feelings in, and when I shared my story, going through depression and how I was actually feeling, it was a weight off my chest, and I realised that a lot of people be in my situation that have got bottled up emotions, and hopefully my story gets more people sharing their story, and
when you do share your story, you probably don't realise how many people want to help and support you around you as well.
Yeah.
Like you probably feel like you don't want to annoy people and share your feelings with people when they're trying to run their own lives. But you'd probably be surprised by how many people actually want to support you because of the way you've treated them and the friendships and relationships you've built with other people. Would that be fair to say?
100%. Yeah, everyone was so supportive when I said I was struggling, and then realising that everyone's got their own story. Like hearing some of the stories that are out there. Every talk, there's clubs losing people to suicide, and there's so many stories out there. And sharing my story, you encourage others to speak up about bad times. So thanks for expanding on that.
Yeah. Look, we need to get onto the fight because Damien Locke, I remember Damien Locke because I played footy against him, Tassie Mariners, back in 95 or 96, probably both of those years actually. He was a gun footballer back in the day. I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but he was a very good footballer. And how many games at Carlton did he play?
He played 18 games. Yeah. He was drafted in 96. He played 18 games for the Blues.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of research.
And he runs his own boxing club.
I heard that
in
as well.
Is that right?
I did try to look him up on Instagram, and I saw a boxing
man.
gym. I'm thinking, far out. He owns a boxing gym, so he's going to be fit. I've heard he's a great guy, though. I've got a few mates that are mates with him, and I heard he's a great guy. But then I have studied him a little bit. So I know I'm up against probably a better boxer. I think I still got a good chance. He's going to be a better boxer, but I might be a better brawler. I don't know.
Well, you guys famously had a fight. Was it last year or the year before?
Last year.
Last year.
Oh, thanks for bringing it up. Who won that one?
Who won that fight, by the way?
Bakes did. Bakes won it pretty comfortably
Unanimous
in the
decision.
end, I think. Look, he smacked the hell out of me, and he was just a little bit fitter, a little bit better prepared.
Yeah, I think we're pretty
at the end
evil.
of the day.
Both pretty terrible at boxing. But I think the last round I got you because I
was a sitting duck in the last round. I remember.
We'll
remember. Like if we talk it through step by step, the first round you had me covered.
Yeah.
The second round was pretty even.
No, you won the second. I'll give you that.
Apparently, I won the second round, but maybe I was a bit lucky on points. But I put so much into the second round to try and get back into the fight that when I sat down, I thought, I can't fucking get up. Like, I cannot get up. I was that spent. Look, we only had 3 times 2-minute rounds. After 2 times 2-minute rounds, I was that spent. I just thought, I just don't want to get up. But I just didn't want to be embarrassed. So I thought, I'll stand up and do my best. And I just couldn't keep my hands up, mate. That was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life.
It's brutal. I first heard it was 2 minutes. I'm thinking, that's easy.
Yeah.
The amount of training we did back in AFL, you do 5 times 1,000-metre sprints and all this shit we used to do back in the day. I'm thinking, that's easy. But then the first time you get humbled down at the training at the gym, I think they said, hit the heavy bag for 2 minutes as hard as you can. 40 seconds in, I'm absolutely cooked. And I'm thinking, this is a lot harder. Then you get in the ring with someone that's better than you. And
mate.
It takes it out of you.
It was so hard. I can't even explain how hard it was.
It is a brutal sport.
And I'm like, I know you're talking about a rematch between the two of us, but in all honesty, I was hurting more than I've ever hurt in my life, and I'm thinking, I just can't see myself wanting to put myself through that ever again. Like, that was just hard.
Yeah, no, it is hard, but I think for me, I need a goal to focus on. The year before last, I did sign up for an Ironman, so I had 6 months of something to focus on, and now it's boxing. I'm my joints are too gone for running and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think boxing, I can still throw a punch, but even my knees hurt when I
Mate,
box now. So it's like,
This guy is the most determined human going around, and obviously had some success tagging players in the AFL. People claim that he's one of the best taggers of all time. Probably, I think he's the second best tagger of all time.
Who would be number one? Dutch?
tagger.
Who
You're
would
a
be
tagger.
number
I
one?
don't know. I've heard a few rumours.
You're a runner
I'm
with, not a
not
fucking
sure.
tagger.
Yeah. Well, there is different elements to being a tagger.
True.
If you can get the ball, it's handy too. Occasionally,
True. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I want to play a bit of a game with you. I want to do your top 3 hardest players to tag and your easiest 3 players to tag. Because I know you did a lot of tagging and you're very successful at it. So you would have played on a lot of elite footballers
Yeah,
in
played
your
on some
journey.
good players. Probably I've mentioned in other podcasts, Ben Cousins was the toughest.
Ben Cousins. Yep.
He was the toughest. I remember Stevie Johnson,
Steve Johnson was tough.
tough to tag, very clever, always had to be on
a
your
reasonable
game.
record on him though, didn't you?
Didn't beat me. He was the hardest, but
Yeah,
I still
yeah.
kicked the butt.
It's hard to beat you, but still beat him.
Still beat him. And probably Gary Ablett. He was always tough, ran a lot. But but get Ben Cousins, I was throwing up at half time. I remember just because he was just ran me to death. I ran over 19 kilometres. I had a little.
There you go.
So he was brutal to play on. Like it wasn't that physical, but he would leave you for dead.
Well, let's just see if we've
have
got
you got there,
anyone
Dutch?
in the same category. I had Chris Judd as one of my top 3. Shane Crawford. Did you ever play in Crawford?
Yeah,
at
he
all?
played on Crawford.
He was a
monster
good runner.
too,
Yeah. And Ben Cousins
Oh, he got
as well.
Benny, yeah.
And I literally only played on Cousins, I reckon, for a half a game in a practice game, but literally was the hardest I've ever run in my life.
Shows you how unfit you are.
Can I make an observation there? You guys have just listed some really, other than maybe Stevie J,
Yep.
hard runners. Guys like that
Hard
gut
runners,
running.
yes.
Now, Bakes, you played with probably one of the most famous gut runners of them all in Mr. Robert Harvey.
Yep.
What did you notice about his training? And was he one of those guys that just went above and beyond? Or
Yeah.
Yeah?
He was definitely at training. He trained, looked like he trained harder than played. Like he was always keeling over, even halfway through a training session. He'd push harder than anyone. And the only player who could have come close, I think, was Lenny Hayes at training that sort of got close to matching Harvey. But I was surprised how hard
So he was like
training.
that, Lenny Hayes as well?
Yeah,
was he?
Hayes is like that at training.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Halves, I remember my first couple of years just watching him thinking, fuck, this guy's an absolute
Maniac.
animal.
Yeah.
Just at training, I'm thinking,
Jeez.
shit, I'm not going to last in this league too long. If they're training like this.
Well, I think you came in when he was just coming off his second Brownlow.
Yeah.
So he was at his peak.
Yeah, and I wasn't a real footy fan, but I knew who he was, and I remember running next to him at the first training session. Oh, well, second because I missed the first one. Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, what?
I slept in.
You slept in.
I was bloody.
I reckon I did the same thing in my first week at
training
Fremantle ever. I slept in.
Yeah.
And
Time difference.
The coach, I can't remember the coach's name. How bad is that?
It was Damien Drum.
No, not Drummy. It was the other bloke, the water polo.
Neesham.
Neesham.
Yeah.
He said he called me Rip Van Winkle. You know Rip Van Winkle?
What's that mean?
Rip Van Winkle.
I rocked up and he was
I know
like,
Dick Van Dyke.
Rick Van Winkle. Apparently, it's some mythical story or something or other about someone who slept for 1,000 years, and he called me
yes.
Rip Van Winkle, and he thought it was a funny. So he called me Rip after that for the next 12 months.
No, mine was because of I blame Barry Hall and Austin Jones.
Yep.
They take the young guy under the wing first night out, fireballs. I woke up and I was wet.
So it wasn't your fault.
You woke up in
It
bottom
wasn't
dude.
my fault. It was Barry Hall, Austin Jones. And then, just woke up. Training was at 7 a.m. I woke up at 10 or 11 thinking, oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Deep shit here. And,
Oh, no.
Yeah, rocked up to the training. Everyone had gone. The coach was gone. And the fitness guy, big fish, I remember, he's like a Russian guy. He's just been...
No.
Had a couple of hours of just gut circuits running, and I remember throwing up in a bin in the change room. He goes, "Get home. Tim doesn't want to talk to you until Monday."
Oh,
F
shit.
off.
Oh,
And
so
that
it was Timmy
on the-
Watson, was it?
Yeah, Timmy Watson.
Wow.
So
Okay. Can we, before we move on, we need to get your easiest 3 taggers here. Is anyone your bunny? Do you have a couple of players that would just...
Judd, Ablett.
So Judd was my hardest and he was your easiest.
Well, it was hard, but I had the better of it.
So Judd, Ablett. So Ablett's in your easiest and hardest.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that work?
You got to have a crack at, you've got to chase them, but then you beat them. So it's like easy. We kept on beating him. But
anyone else?
Probably Farmer. Easiest.
Farmer? Oh, Jeff Farmer? Oh, yeah. He wouldn't have been a hard worker, would
No,
he?
he headbutted him early and got 7 weeks and didn't. Yeah, he was on the bench most of the game.
All right.
Before speaking of tagging though, look, I've heard a story.
Hang on. I've got you. Hold on to that.
Oh, sorry,
because I've got my bottom three.
Go. Give us your bottom three. Dutch.
Scott Camporeale. Do you ever play on him at all?
No.
He was one of those reluctant runners. As soon as you're on him, he just goes to the water.
Wait, Campo Carlton or Campo Essendon?
Campo Carlton. Essendon, I didn't see him then. I was finished. Peter Bell. Do you ever play on Peter Bell?
Maybe. Yes, I did.
Yeah. I used to just bump a bar him all day and he just go to water. And Scotty West. You would have played on Scotty West? I like playing on Scotty West. He was also what we call a reluctant runner. You're on him, he doesn't work.
Yeah. No,
you're off him, he's happy to work. But, very elite footballers in their own right.
But you shut them down.
But I shut them down well and truly. Over to you.
Sorry about that, Dutch. But yes, I've heard a story that I wanted to ask Bakes about your tagging days. Apparently you were relentless in your study of these players that you were going to come up against, watching the video footage.
Yes.
And there was a game against the Bulldogs, and you apparently were told to tag Matty Boyd. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, what happened?
Was it
I think it's a true
Cross or Boyd?
I can't remember which one it was.
Tell the story, Bakes.
No, I remember studying whoever it was. I think it was Boyd all week, and then I think they looked alike or something, and I went and lined up on the wrong person in the middle of the square. I just messaged Lenny, say, who was it? And Lenny messaged me, goes, yeah, it was on Boyd or Cross, and either or. And he goes, get out of the effing square, Bakes. You're down the forward line. So it was, I think that must have looked alike.
So you're supposed to start on Boyd to tag Boyd, but you went to Cross, or vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa.
Oh,
one of the ones that started.
You still don't know which one's
No,
which.
I got no fucking idea. I had to message Lenny before to see what happened. He goes, that's how it happened, apparently.
That's so good. That's so good. But you're not a football watcher, are you? Like you watch the Saints. You will watch the Saints.
Yeah, well, I didn't watch any footy until I got drafted, really. I wasn't a footy fan. I was a basketballer, sort of started footy late. My brother got me into it when I was about 15 or so. And so I was never a footy fan, didn't know many players. So if I was playing on someone, I'd just look at that person, and if there was a late change, I'd have no idea who anyone was. But yeah, just studying that one person, and didn't watch much footy.
If they said that player's out injured, you would have just been thrown out.
Yeah, I'll be thrown out or just dropped out of the side.
Yeah. All right, I've got, because you aren't an avid football watcher, and yes, you are a researcher of individual players when you've got to tag them.
Yes.
But I want to see how well credentialed you are to actually understand who the top St Kilda people are over the years, all right? See if you actually know who these St Kilda people are.
All right.
I'm going to start with some really easy ones. 4 easy, 4 moderate, 4 hard.
Shit, 12.
All right, so here we go. These are the first 4. All right, I'm going to hold the first 4 up, and one by one, you tell me who they are.
We have got Rossi Lyon, Molly Meldrum, Jack Steele top left, Stewie Lowe I lived with for about a year.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have put him in if I'd have known that.
Thanks, Lowe, for looking after me.
All right, here we go. Next 4. This is moderate. I think they're still easy, but I thought I'd just take it easy on him. Here we go.
Ooh. Oh.
Who's that at the top?
That
Top right there.
Is that Knock Knock?
No, you tell.
Who's that? Owen the Saints.
That's him. That's him. Well done.
We'll try it again. Knock Knock.
Who's there?
Owen
the Saints.
go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, how I want to be in St Kilda. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
Go marching in.
Shut up. Next.
Oh.
You don't know who that is?
Yeah, I was the coach, but
Correct. No, he's on the right trajectory.
Ex-Collingwood player.
Got cleaned up by Michael Voss.
as soon as you say the name, I'll
Got cleaned up by Michael Voss.
As soon as you say the name,
Well, we'll skip that. We'll go to the next one. Star player in St Kilda team at the moment.
Not Rowan Marshall, is it? Is it? No.
I'll give you a clue. His first name's Marcus.
Marcus Schoenberger?
Burger.
Is that close? Fuck, I'm sweating.
But you know what? He's close. It's a German sort of name.
What was it?
It's a Germany name. It's very.
Who is it, coach?
It's Marcus Windhager.
Mate, Marcus Windhager.
Schmattenberger.
What about this bloke down here on the bottom left?
Ratton.
Brett Ratton.
Ratton,
Okay.
yes.
So that's Alan Richardson there. All right. Ex-Collingwood.
I knew that. I knew that. That was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
gets a bit
Schoenberg wasn't right.
These are the hard ones. All right. These are the hard ones. All right. There they are for you at home. There they are for the Baker dog.
Oh, fuck.
Let's start with the guy on the top right there. The premiership player for St Kilda.
Sure is.
Is it Bruce someone?
It is a
starts
B.
with B.
It is a B.
Does start
It's a
with
Barry?
Yes.
Yes.
Barry Dunstall?
Jason's long forgotten brother.
Barry Breen?
Correct.
Barry Breen. Yeah.
Barry Dunstall. What the fuck was it? Barry Breen.
What about this
Trevor
bloke?
Barker?
Yes.
Yes.
Was he the ruckman? He got reported heaps.
He's Tasmanian, this guy.
Oh.
You're thinking of Ditterich.
He's Tasmanian.
Oh,
No.
that's what I'm thinking
You know,
of. Ditterich, he had a headband
One
though,
of
didn't
St
he?
Kilda's absolute
Skipper.
I'll give you. Should we give him a clue?
Yeah, give him
Daryl.
Daryl Baldock.
Oh yes,
Ah,
yes.
yeah,
Tassie man as
And
well.
you surely
I
got to know who that is. He played 50 odd games for the Saints and Richmond, and he was a coach. He was my coach.
Oh, fuck, his face rings a bell.
He was my coach for 8 years.
Just picture him with a moustache. He doesn't have one there.
Oh, the Collingwood coach.
2 M's.
Mick Malthouse.
yes. Great work.
Well done, Bakes. You got there.
I'm going, what the fuck's his name?
You got there, Bakes. Speaking of coaches, Bakes.
Yes.
Jeez,
I wanted to.
Yes.
That was shit. You told me he was going to do that. I actually did some study before I got here, and it was still pretty shit.
Now you've had a number of coaches in your tenure at St Kilda.
Yes.
I'm going to name each one in chronological order. Just tell me a little bit about them and your experience. So the first coach, ex-Essendon great, Timmy Watson.
Love Timmy. Got along great. But, yeah, memories... No, just good mates.
Good mates.
Yeah.
That's great. Malcolm Blight. What's he laughing at? What's he
Oh, he
laughing
just
at?
told me how much he liked Blighty before the show.
I walked in earlier and he goes, what do you think of Blighty? I was like, I fucking hate him. He goes, can you say that on the podcast? I said, yeah. No, I hated Blighty because I think he loved the fancy players. And I remember he belittled me one day in front of the group because he said, every time you get the ball, you run into him like a bulldozer or something. Why don't you fucking learn how to balk? He got me out in front of everyone in training and this is how you do it. And he did a little spin and he showed me. And then I went up there and I just fucking put the ball out there and ran straight into him and made an ass of myself, basically. That's not how you do it. He made me do it again. It was like 40 guys just sitting there watching and I had to do it like 5 times in a row. And I just fucking felt like putting one on his chin. I just wanted to drop him. So I ended up hating him. He always wanted to wear your socks up.
So how long did you have him for?
I think it was only like
15 games. 15
It
games.
was months because he was
He got sacked,
playing.
didn't he?
He did.
Playing golf in
That's
Queensland
right.
during pre-season. Wouldn't let us
he?
touch the footies before Christmas. He was a total fuckstick. That was the next.
Great moustache, though. Brilliant moustache. All right, so after Blighty, after that one, we had GT, Grant Thomas.
GT, yeah, he was one of my top 2 favourites. Had great camaraderie with the boys. We ran there for every weekend for barbecues, and I think he just got the boys playing for each other. And a couple of times we got close there. We had a few injuries at a few bad times, but yeah, loved Tomo.
And then finally, of course, Ross Lyon.
Rossi, they're my other favourite. Very, I would say, intimidating a little bit. Like I was a 30-year-old grown man. After a loss, I was like hiding in the rooms, not trying to get a question asked from Rossi, but very methodical and demands the best from the boys. But I think that's what he gets.
That's awesome, mate. And you still keep in touch with...
Still keep in touch. We catch up, every 6 or so months. We have a beer every prelim. We all catch up, all the old boys, and have a beer together. And Rossi's there every year, so it's good.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome,
He seems
mate.
like the type of coach you want to play for, though. Like he's hard and honest, but still a lad. You know, if you do the right thing by him, he'll look after you, type thing.
No, if you
Would
give him
that be fair to
100%,
say?
if you give him 100%, I know I was in trouble off the field a couple of times. Basically said, look, Bugs, long as you give me 100% on the field and you fucking do that, you know. You sort of
Well, you
slip a
guys
few
have been-
things under the rug.
What were we talking about here? Off field? What were we talking about?
I got Lenny in a fight one weekend. I was in some, where was it, Love Machine, one of those bars.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And some guy kept grabbing me on the arse. I said, mate, look at that.
The guy grabbed you on
Yeah,
the
he's just
really?
I said, mate, stop it. It's a bit of fun. He kept on doing
gay
it.
guy, or was it?
I think he might have been.
Yeah,
And,
he must have been, obviously.
And then I said, mate, just don't. I'm gonna hit you. And I think he grabbed me on the old fella. And I threw a big punch at him and missed him, and he's sort of running away. And I'm like,
So what time of the morning was
it
this?
was like 3 or 4 a.m. Something stupid. We shouldn't have been.
Early days.
Lenny wouldn't have been out that much. So
No,
he was pretty
he would have been
professional,
out,
wasn't
probably
he?
not drinking.
So you
but-
would have talked him into it. No,
Yeah,
no one knew.
Yeah, I talked him into it, so it wasn't my fault. But I was chasing this guy, trying to punch him, and Lenny was trying to stop me. The bouncers grabbed me, and then Lenny's tried to intervene, and the bouncer headbutted Lenny, split him open.
No.
So we got found out by Rossi.
Did that get out in the Herald's, the
I don't
media?
think so. I
Herald
don't think
Sun
so. I
and
don't
that?
think it got in the media.
Got to be careful with Mike Sheehan and those boys.
Yeah.
They're always loitering.
Well, we got called into the office. I think we went in on the Monday or whatever, and then Rossi's told him the story. Yeah, whatever. They had video footage of me chasing this guy.
Oh,
and
really?
I remember
Video
Rossi saying, he goes, "You don't throw a very good punch, babe."
Hopefully your punches, you throw better punches
Yeah, he goes,
against
that's what he
Damien Locke.
said. He goes,
What if it was Damien Locke?
Could have been. Maybe he's coming for revenge.
But yeah, so that all happened, and Rossi sort of we had a meeting. Lenny goes, "Lenny, you off you go, mate. That's
Yeah.
good old Lenny. Everyone loves Lenny." And I sort of
Yeah.
copped it a little bit, and he made me give my own ban, which I banned myself from drinking for a year.
After that?
Yeah,
Really?
After that, so
Wow.
I didn't drink for a year after that.
Fuck, that's impressive.
Discipline.
And he,
That
and
is
he actually
impressive.
said that was the worst fucking ban you got to give yourself, you idiot.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah.
Oh, mate, this fight's going to be big, though. Let's be honest. We're getting back to the fight again for a second. What we're going to do here is we're going to try and sell some tickets, and we're going to fill the house. I've got a table going, and I want some of your fans and some footy fans in general to get behind Bakes and get there on the night and watch the fight. Come down with the the coach and I, and watch the fight. If you want to sit on our table, get in touch with me on social media, on Instagram.
Send me ringside your table too.
Yeah, ringside with Dutch and the coach, and come down and join us. We'll let you know all the details, but if you want to get in touch with me personally, on direct message on Insta, feel free to. And we'd love to obviously watch the fight with. Watch the big fight. The big fight.
It'll be a packed
Bakes
house.
and
Everyone that went last year to our fight, they're all coming. They're
coming back again.
Yeah,
that was a huge night. It's a great night. It is actually a great night.
It was good when the fight was over. We could sit there. We had a beer together. I think we went till the AM.
We had a big night. That very big night.
We had a very big night. So that was
Bakes,
fun.
are you able to reveal your opening or walkout song? Is it going to be Daryl
mixing
Braithwaite?
it up?
Well, I don't know. I was actually thinking that the other day. Someone asked me
because the last one
that I've had a win,
it?
and it was a song that my brother and I used to play before the South Colic Grand Final in '97. Got Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson.
Oh yes.
So
The Beautiful People.
Someone sent me the walkout when I was walking out the other day. And I thought, oh shit, I don't mind that. I might have to keep with it. I think. If I lose, I'll change it.
Change it. Marilyn Manson coming
You've
out.
got to stick with what works.
I think so.
Don't fix something that's not
right
broken.
hook.
That's it.
You know what they say. Well, I'll tell you what, if you win this, I might even think about a rematch.
You heard it here first. This is on camera.
But I have bunged my shoulder, so I might take a bit of time to
Last
get
time we
over
done
this.
his back swimming, apparently. I
I did my back, so then I did swimming because I did my back.
Oh, because you did swimming,
yeah.
Fucking pools are so
But no,
dangerous.
actually, before we move on, you actually lied to me a little bit. Like you would
didn't lie, I just held- I didn't
pretending
say
you
the
weren't
truth.
training that hard. Oh, I haven't done much this week. You were what we call the classic closet trainer. What were you doing? Tell the people what you were doing behind
I don't
closed
like
doors.
being called a lie. I didn't lie. I just withheld information. I was like turning up to boxing, and we had those like 3 weeks left. And I was like, oh god, I'm sick. I actually was a little bit crook at the
here we
start,
go,
but then
here
I
we
was in the. I was in the sauna. I bought one of those little breather machines, and I was doing little punches, and I was swimming a couple of K. And I did a lot of extras in the last sort of 2 weeks leading up to the fight.
You did. So where my back was crook and I was out, you were going hard. You were going hard and pretending you weren't doing
you were
much.
pretending about your back. Are you? I think that little bit.
I needed an excuse because I was pretty poor on the night, and you were just far too good for me. Stevie, is there anything you want to ask Stevie before he shoots
No,
off,
I think
Coach?
we're good, Dutch. I just want to, guys, get around him. Like I said, the fight's coming up. Come down, support him. He's a great guy. He can throw a punch. We'll be there. Bakes, thanks for coming on.
I actually can't wait to watch it because I just want to sit back
be
and
entertaining.
relax,
be
not be
entertaining.
too obviously like last time I was nervous, and I was involved. This time I can just watch
You can just
watch
chill
my
out.
mate.
I'm
you
nervous,
know,
I'm
hopefully
nervous. But
bash the
excited.
hell out of someone else and get the win, mate. I've got confidence in you.
Thanks, mate.
Good luck, champion.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks for coming on.
Legends. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.
Make sure you get behind Bakes, guys, and Team Ellis crew. It's going to be a great fight against Damien Locke, ex-Carlton player, and Bendigo Pioneers superstar as well. That'll be a great fight. And hopefully he gets over the line because I might even challenge him to a rematch if
Would
he
love
gets
to
over
see
the
that.
line.
We would love to see that, Dutch.
Anything else you want to add before we
thanks
finish,
for
Coach?
coming. Dutch, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, mate.
Love you long time, mate. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.